Hello students and welcome to the Virtual Learning Network. This is session 20 for Modern India 1857 to 1964 and here we will discuss the non-Brahmin movement in Western and Southern India. The topics to be covered are social and cultural background, cultural struggle in Maharashtra, non-Brahmin movements in South India and comparative analysis of the movements. Now first is social and cultural background. The social and cultural struggle in the 19th century was a resistance offered simultaneously against the ideological harmony of the British colonial rule and the traditional social and cultural order. सो जो सोशल और कल्चरल स्ट्रगल स्टार्ट हुआ था 19th सेंचुरी में वो आया था ब्रिटिश रूल की वजह से, जो उनके लॉज थे उसकी वजह से जो प्रॉब्लम्स आई थी. विद द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अ कम्युनिटी ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल्स एट रीजनल लेवल एंड ऑन द नेशनल प्लेस, there developed an awareness of the weaknesses of the traditional order which could be combated with modern Western ideas. The birth of modern ideas was, however, influenced by the specific material, social and political conditions under colonialism, and in different parts of the country, these ideas came up through different movements. जो modern ideas थे वो आए थे because जो specific material था, social और political conditions उस टाइम पे ऐसी थी कि मॉडर्न आइडियाज़ डेवलप करने ज़रूरी थे. और जितने भी इंडिया के पार्ट्स थे, अलग अलग पार्ट्स में कॉलोनियल रूल्स चल रहे थे और उनको अप्रेस करने के लिए, उनको अपोज करने के लिए मॉडर्न आइडियाज़ डेवलप हुए. The 19th century saw the emergence of a number of socio-cultural movements which sought to reform and regenerate Indian culture and traditional institutions. Casteism, which produces inequality and social division, inhuman practices like sati, infanticide and polytheism, etc. were criticized with the help of new ideals of freedom, reason, tolerance and human dignity. The English educated middle class were united in waging a series of social and cultural battles against caste inequality and its hierarchy that went with it. So casteism की वजह से बहुत ज़्यादा इनइक्वालिटी आ गई थी, सोशल डिवीजन हो गया था और अनसोशल प्रैक्टिसेस होती थी जैसे कि सती, इन्फेंटिसाइड और पॉलीथिज्म, और इनको क्रिटिसाइज करना ज़रूरी था, इनको हटाना ज़रूरी था और ये किया था इंग्लिश एजुकेटेड मिडिल क्लास ने. नेक्स्ट इज द कल्चरल स्ट्रगल इन महाराष्ट्र. द ट्रेडिशनल सोशल स्ट्रेटिफिकेशन इन महाराष्ट्र was governed by Varnashram Dharma, that is the division of society into an unequal hierarchical order comprising Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Sudras. The social interaction between different castes governed by this stratification was maintained by strict rules of pollution and purity. At the top was the Brahmin caste with many rights and privileges which maintained their social culture over society by developing a religious ideology which gave legitimacy to many superstitions and inhuman practices. At the lowest end were the Ati Sudras or untouchables, outcasts deprived of education and all other rights. सो जो ट्रेडिशनल सोशल स्ट्रेटिफिकेशन था महाराष्ट्र में वो था वर्णाश्रम धर्म, जिसमें सोसाइटी को अनइक्वल हायरार्किकल ऑर्डर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रखा था, जैसे कि ब्राह्मण्स, उसके बाद आते हैं क्षत्रियास, फिर वैश्यास और फिर शूद्रास. ये जो सोशल इंटरेक्शन थी अलग अलग कास्ट के बीच में, ये इस स्ट्रेटिफिकेशन के बेसिस पे होती थी. जो ब्राह्मण थे उनके पास बहुत सारे राइट्स और प्रिविलेजेस थे और जो शूद्रास थे या फिर अति शूद्रास थे वो थी अनटचेबल आउटकास्ट, जिनको बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान किया जाता था. इन महाराष्ट्र द हिंदूज वर 74.8% ऑफ द टोटल पॉपुलेशन. अकॉर्डिंग टू द सेंसस ऑफ 1881, द कुनबीज और मराठाज वर द मेन कम्युनिटी, अबाउट 55.25% of the total population. Kunbis were also economically powerful in rural society. Being a rich peasant class, they controlled agricultural production. However, the influence of the traditional ideology and the institution of caste made them subservient to the Brahmins. Next is Jyotirao Govindrao Phule from 1827 to 1890. Jyotiba Phule was born into a Shudra Mali family in Pune in 1827. His father was a gardener or a flour merchant. Being a member of the oppressed Shudras, Phule could easily understand the problems of the Ati Shudras, that is the untouchable Mahars and monks, and identify himself with them. He received initial education in a mission school but had to discontinue it in 1833. An incident in 1848 turned Phule into a social revolutionary. When he went to attend a Brahmin friend's marriage, some orthodox Brahmins insulted him by calling him a Shudra and asked him to leave. This humiliation made Jyotiba search for the roots of caste discrimination and the inhuman practice of untouchability. ज्योतिबा फूले एक शूद्र फैमिली में उन्होंने जन्म लिया था. उनके फादर एक गार्डनर थे. क्योंकि वो खुद शूद्र थे इसलिए वो शूद्र कास्ट की सारी परेशानियों को अच्छे से समझ सकते थे. एक इंसिडेंट हुआ था उनके साथ 1848 में जिसकी वजह से फूले सोशल रेवोल्यूशनरी में चेंज हो गए थे. और वो था, उन्होंने एक ब्राह्मण फ्रेंड की मैरिज अटेंड करने गए थे और वहाँ पे कुछ ऑर्थोडॉक्स ब्राह्मण्स ने उनके साथ बदतमीजी की थी, उन्हें ह्यूमिलिएट किया था. देन इन हिज क्वेस्ट फॉर द ट्रूथ, फूले रेड द वेदास, द मनु संहिता, द पुराणास एंड द थॉट ऑफ बुद्धा, बसेश्वर एंड तीर्थंकर एंड द medieval bhakti saints extensively. He also acquainted himself with the Western thought and the Christian and Islamic religions. Jyotiba Phule considered the caste system as an antithesis of the principle of human equality. The existing caste system reserved a perpetual slavery for the Shudras, especially the untouchables. The untouchables were not allowed to walk on the streets during the sunrise lest their long shadows should pollute Brahmin houses. This inhuman treatment of Ati Shudras by the Brahmins and the denial of the common rights of humanity made Phule rebel against the caste system. ज्योतिबा फूले ने अलग अलग पुराण और वेदा पढ़ के ये जाना कि उनमें ऐसी क्या बातें लिखी हैं जो ये स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन करती है सोशल लाइफ की. उन्होंने कास्ट सिस्टम को एक एंटीथीसिस कंसिडर किया. जो एग्जिस्टिंग कास्ट सिस्टम था वो एक तरह से शूद्रास को स्लेवरी करने पे मजबूर करता था, स्पेशली जो अनटचेबल्स थे. अनटचेबल्स गलियों में चलना उनको अलाउड नहीं था सनराइज के टाइम पे, क्योंकि लोग ये मानते थे कि उनकी जो शैडो होगी, उनकी परछाई से ब्राह्मण घर अशुद्ध हो जाएंगे. और ये इनह्यूमन ट्रीटमेंट जो था ब्राह्मण्स का, ये कॉमन राइट्स ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी को भी डिनाई करता है. और इस कास्ट सिस्टम के अगेंस्ट उन्होंने रिबेल किया था. टू प्रोपगेट हिज आइडियाज, द मीन्स दैट फूले यूज्ड वर publication of journals and magazines, pamphlets and books, and the Marathi language both in speeches and writings. A journal, Deen Bandhu, in Marathi was edited and published by Phule for disseminating his thought and exposing the oppressive character of the Aryan Vedic tradition. Next is non-Brahmin movement in the early 20th century. With the death of Jyotiba Phule in 1890, his Satya Shodhak movement receded into the background. Even though the movement was revived by Chhatrapati Shahu Maharaj of Kolhapur with the establishment of Satya Shodhak Samaj in July 1913 at Kolhapur, it acquired a narrow complexion. Shahu Maharaj no doubt furthered the cause of non-Brahmin movement by starting educational institutions, hostels and scholarships for the students of the depressed classes. Between 1913 and 1922, he was also actively associated with several non-Brahmin and Kshatriya caste conferences. ज्योतिबा फूले की डेथ के बाद जो उन्होंने एक मूवमेंट स्टार्ट की थी सत्यशोधक, वो भी पीछे हट गई थी। लेकिन इस मूवमेंट को रिवाइव करने के लिए छत्रपति शाहू महाराज ने भी काफ़ी कोशिशें की। उन्होंने एक सत्यशोधक समाज भी स्टैब्लिश किया था जुलाई 1913 में। उन्होंने काफ़ी ऐसे काम किए थे जो शूद्रास को ऊपर उठाने के लिए था, जैसे कि उन्होंने इंस्टीट्यूशंस चलाए, हॉस्टल्स खोले थे और स्कॉलरशिप भी दी थी डिप्रेस्ड क्लासेस के लिए। और 1913 से 1922 के बीच में भी वो काफ़ी एक्टिवली एसोसिएटेड थे नॉन ब्राह्मण मूवमेंट्स के साथ और कॉन्फ्रेंसेस के साथ। अंडर शाहू महाराज द नॉन ब्राह्मण मूवमेंट passed into the hands of business and land owing upper caste non-Brahmins who used it for their political gains. शाहू महाराज के अंडर भी जो नॉन ब्राह्मण मूवमेंट थी वो नॉन ब्राह्मण्स अपर कास्ट के पास पहुंच गई थी और उन्होंने अपने पॉलिटिकल गेन्स के लिए उसका फायदा उठाना शुरू कर दिया। A major battle waged by Shahu Maharaj was for acquiring Kshatriya status within the Varnashram dharma for himself and his community. This was nothing but a betrayal of Phule's ideology, which left the low Shudra caste to their social degradation and poverty. And after 1918, with Montagu Chelmsford reforms, Shahu Maharaj, along with the Justice Party in Madras, used the movement for demanding special political representation for backward classes in the councils. Thus, the Satyashodhak movement deviated from its main path and turned into a movement for the benefit of land-owning upper caste non-Brahmins. Then is the character of the movement. It is argued by historians like Anil Seal that the Brahmins, being a traditional literate caste, adapted themselves to the colonial system faster and began to monopolize the opportunities in professions and bureaucracy. As a result, the non-Brahmins rose against the Brahmin monopoly. However, a deeper analysis of Jyotiba Phule's social reforms reveals a wider consciousness of the system of caste inequalities and its relationship with the social subordination and material backwardness of the Sudras. For Phule vehemently argued for a fundamental change in Shudras' attitude towards their caste subordination. He established an ideological basis for a revolution in social and religious values. ज्योतिबा फूले ने एक बहुत डीपर एनालिसिस किया था सोशल रिफॉर्म्स का और उन्होंने एक बहुत वाइडर कॉन्शियसनेस दिखाई थी इस सिस्टम के लिए और कास्ट इनइक्वालिटीज के लिए। उन्होंने फंडामेंटल चेंज के लिए बहुत ही ज़्यादा आर्ग्यू किया कि शूद्रास की तरफ जो कास्ट सबऑर्डिनेशन का एटीट्यूड है वो चेंज हो सके और इसके लिए उन्होंने आइडियोलॉजिकल बेसिस भी इस्टेब्लिश किए थे ताकि एक सोशल और रिलीजियस वैल्यूज का रेवोल्यूशन आ सके। नेक्स्ट इज द नॉन ब्राह्मण मूवमेंट इन साउथ इंडिया। In the Madras Presidency, the Brahmins constituted 3.3% of Hindus, but in the rituals dominated traditional hierarchy, they were superior to other caste. Traditionally, being a literate caste, the Brahmins were quick in adopting English education and monopolizing opportunities in professions and colonial bureaucracy. This aroused the envy and hostility of the non-Brahmin communities, which in turn resulted in a non-Brahmin movement. However, the Brahmin and non-Brahmin conflict, which was aggravated by job opportunities, had much deeper social, economic and cultural roots. ब्राह्मण प्रेसिडेंसी में जो ब्राह्मण थे उनके 3.3% उनमें से हिंदूज थे, लेकिन रिचुअल्स जो थे वो ट्रेडिशनल हायरार्की डोमिनेट करती थी क्योंकि हिंदूज जो थे वो सुपीरियर थे। देन ट्रेडिशनली जो एक लिटरेट क्लास होने की वजह से ब्राह्मण्स जो थे वो इंग्लिश एजुकेशन जल्दी से अडॉप्ट करते थे और मोनोपलाइज भी करते थे अपने प्रोफेशन में। इसकी वजह से भी नॉन ब्राह्मण कम्युनिटीज में बहुत ज़्यादा एनवी आ गई थी, जेलसी आ गई थी और उनकी प्रॉब्लम्स आने लग गई थी और जिसकी वजह से नॉन ब्राह्मण मूवमेंट शुरू हुई थी। नाउ सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट मूवमेंट इन तमिलनाडु। Recent historical works show that the Tamil Renaissance had resulted in the growth of Dravidian consciousness and its political manifestation was the starting of non-Brahmin movement. Based on the Tamil classical works like Pattu Pattu, Manimekalai, Sila Pattikaram, published between 1887 and 1904, Tamil scholars had elaborated on the picture of classical Dravidian civilization which was distinct from the Aryan and Sanskritic culture. And interestingly, the notion of independent existence of Tamil culture was first developed by European scholar Caldwell. This was later elaborated by Tamil scholars. The non-Brahmin Tamil scholars also attempted to show that the Aryans had distorted the superior Dravidian religious systems like Saiva Siddhanta philosophy and the imposed teachings of the Vedas and the caste system on the South Indian people. And it was this rediscovered distinct cultural identity which expressed itself in the non-Brahmin movement after 1916. Next is the Justice Party and non-Brahmin politics. The non-Brahmin resentment took a political form in 1916 in Madras city with the formation of South Indian Liberal Federation known as the Justice Party, which claimed to represent the interest of all non-Brahmins in the Madras presidency, including Muslims, Christians and untouchables. जो नॉन ब्राह्मण रिसेंटमेंट थी वो पॉलिटिकल फॉर्म में आई थी 1916 में मद्रास में, जहाँ पे एक साउथ इंडियन लिबरल फेडरेशन फॉर्म हुई थी जिसका नाम रखा गया जस्टिस पार्टी. द फाउंडर्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वर टी.एन. नायर, पी. त्यागराय जेट्टी and C. Natesa Mudaliar. The initial demand of the justice leaders for reserved seats in the provincial legislature was slowly extended to include concessions in education, public appointments and nomination to local boards. Next is the self-respect movement in Andhra. In Andhra, Brahmanit Harodia Mammu, which literally means the movement launched by those other than Brahmins, was basically for cultural reform and social uplift of the non-Brahmin groups like Kammas, Reddys, Balija and Valamas. These peasant groups, with their substantial land ownership and economic dominance, lacked modern English education or the traditional ritual status on the basis of which they could claim at high social status in society, and naturally they attacked the Brahmin monopoly over ritual status and the government jobs. This movement had its origin in their perceived sense of social and cultural deprivation. The non-Brahmin section of the land-owning and rich upper class suffered on account of being clubbed into a Shudra category by the Brahmins. Then the non-Brahmin movement in Karnataka. The Vokaligas, two dominant castes in Karnataka, had suffered subdivisions before being listed as a single unified caste by the census of 1901. This categorization, argued one historian, provided the leaders of the non-Brahmin movement with a significant base of collective mobilization. Serious solidarity efforts were also made internally by different caste associations. The Lingyats established the Mysore Lingyat Education Fund Association in 1905, while the Vokaligas formed the Kokaligara Sangh in 1906. The last topic is comparative analysis of the movements. Religious conservatism of high caste Brahmins and the rigid caste structure were perceived as the main reasons for the socio-cultural backwardness of non-Brahmin peasant groups and the main obstacles to their program of radical social reform. Unlike the 19th century social reformers, Phule saw no possibility of reforming them internally. Unlike in other regions, the self-respect movement under Periyar sought to integrate the emancipation of women and Sudras by reforming the system of marriage and rejecting the caste system. जो सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट मूवमेंट थी पेरियार के अंडर, उसका मेन मोटिव था शूद्रास को रिफॉर्म करना और विमेन की इमेंसिपेशन, विमेन को एम्पावर करना। और ये हो सकता था सिर्फ कास्ट सिस्टम को रिजेक्ट करके और सिस्टम ऑफ मैरिज को भी हटा के। Similarly, in coastal Andhra, the self-respect movement was dominated by upper caste, non-Brahmins, Karmas, Reddys and Velamas. One of the negative trends as witnessed in Karnataka was the increasing use of caste category even to put forward secular demands. This negative trend became more pronounced after India had attained her independence in 1947. Now here are some questions for you. First is, what are the main ideas of Jyotiba Phule? And second question is, what are the main contours of self-respect movement in Andhra? That's all for this session. Thank you and have a nice day.